Hi everyone, hello, welcome. Let me see. Hi Alison, hi Reina, hi
Hi.
Alex, good to see you all. Luis, hello.
Hi.
Let's see, let's let everybody in. Okay, Sarah, Nancy, good to see you everyone.
Hello,
Welcome.
everybody.
Okay, see people joining. Let's wait 5 minutes. If you want to put in the chat meantime, where are you from? Where are you tuning in so we can see where everyone is from while we let everybody in.
Hi, Sarah. Sarah's in Detroit. Alex is in New Jersey. Catherine's in Seattle. Nancy's in California. Rena's in Phoenix. I'm tuning from Austin today. This is Allison. Sylvia's in Madison. We're neighbors. I'm in my hometown of Milwaukee. Sylvia. Joanne's in New Jersey. Another New Jersey. This is Alex.
Okay.
Kay's in LA. Heading to the airport. No worries, Elena.
Yeah, no worries. If you can put your camera on, that would be ideal so we can have more engagement and interaction. If you are driving or you cannot do it, it's fine. Okay, wow, okay. So I'm gonna let more people in. If maybe we can get started. Do you want Sahara to present and I will share the presentation very
Yeah,
soon.
hi everyone. Thanks for joining Sonia and I today. We're going to be talking about the El Camino experience for 2027. Drop in the chat if you guys have been on El Camino before to some extent. Because I know there's just different versions of it. People have done different parts of it, or if you're completely new to El Camino. So Sonia is, and I have partnered. She's with Travel Awakens. She's been a part of the TCN for a while. She runs our Spanish program for the Travel Coach Network. And for those who are new to the Travel Coach Network, I'll share a little bit about what we are as well. But we've partnered with Sonia 2 years ago for El Camino because she takes people, a group of people, on these really incredible journeys on El Camino de Santiago. That is truly transformative for you personally, and we've added that business component as well too. And so that's why we decided to team up in the Travel Coach Network. But I am Sahara Rose Zabor. I'm the founder and CEO of the Travel Coach Network. We're a global platform that trains, educates, and certifies travel coaches around the globe. Think life coaching plus travel, really helping people better understand why they want to travel and using travel as an intentional way to reach their goals, design a meaningful life, to heal, transform, and all these wonderful reasons why we turn to travel in the first place. And so now we have over 800 travel coaches from more than 41 countries in the Travel Coach Network who all believe that travel is so much more than just taking a vacation. And so today we're going to be talking about El Camino. Sonia is the person who has all of those details and information. So she's going to be answering all of your guys' questions today. But we've decided to come together for our third year to bring this back because of the incredible feedback that we've gotten from our previous members, which I know Sonia is going to share some of that, those messages today as well.
Hey, thank you, Sahara, and thanks everyone for being here. Uh, those of you already know me. For those who don't know me, I am Sonia. I'm originally from Spain, but I live in Ireland. I partnered with Sahara, as she said, like 3 years ago to do this for the community of the Travel Coach Network. But we open also to other people outside to have this experience that, as we know, as part of the travel coaching, we really appreciate when we have this preparation beforehand, any trip. So the Camino is not different. And also how we can integrate it after in our lives. So today we are going to talk about that, how we do that before, during, and after. And at the end, we will introduce you to the experience that we prepared for 2027. So any questions that you have, put it in the chat. So I'm going to share my screen and you can feel free to ask questions in the chat. We will have a space hopefully at the end for Q&A as well. All right, so I read in the chat some of you have already walked the Camino or you are about to walk the Camino. For those of you who never been there, but I'm sure everyone here have at least heard about it, right? So I don't think it needs a long introduction, but the Camino is a 1,000-year-old pilgrimage across Spain that has been walked for millions, for thousands of years. So this is a pilgrimage that started in the Middle Ages and ends in Santiago de Compostela. So there are different routes on the Camino. All of them finish in Santiago de Compostela, when is where the Apostle Saint James the Greater is buried. Okay, so many people are walking this from different beliefs and religions, despite it's from the Christian religion. But yeah, you don't need to be like in any religion. People do it also for clarity, healing, and transformation. But for us, Camino de Santiago is not just a pilgrimage, it's also a journey back to the fullest and healthiest and most authentic version of ourselves. Because if we are honest, stepping into our fullest expression in life and in business is not always easy, right? So you can tell me if you relate with any of these in the chat as well, because I believe we live in a world that we are more connected than ever before through technology, but more disconnected than ever before with ourselves, from to who we are, what we want, right? So day after day, we go through all the routines and the patterns, and we repeat the same situations like in autopilot. So we wake up, we do the same routines, we go to the work, and then we do see the same people, and then we secretly expect that something change. So we are hoping like things get better or some new things in our life, but we keep doing the same, right? So this is the definition of madness, right? So we are also busy juggling life and business. So we tend to forget nurturing ourselves, our friendships, to create memories and to have fun. There is lots of guilt around having fun and investing time for ourselves and putting ourselves first. So also the overstimulation we live, the world and the society that we are constantly connected and overstimulated with emails and messages, notifications. So the mind does not rest. So we are constantly predicting and trying to anticipate what's next and try to solve the next problem. So we very strange that we live in the present moment. And then we wonder at the end of the day why we feel so exhausted. And maybe we haven't done much, but our minds were totally activated all the time. So let me know if you can relate with any of these. Reina says yes, she feels this deeply. But yeah, so sometimes it's that we build a life or a career that other people may seem successful from the outside, but we don't feel connected or we don't feel the joy or the wonder or, this appreciation sometimes for the small things in life that we had maybe when we started. So this is something that happens. Yes, Eliana said yes. Alice said absolutely. Julia said yes. All right. So if you resonate with any of these, that's totally normal. I believe is nothing wrong about feeling that way. It's that the crazy world and society we created, where we have to be always constantly connected and we have all these inputs coming towards ourselves. So the thing that we need is a space. So we need a space to pause, to really appreciate what we already have, right? And see our lives from a different perspective. And from that point is when we are in a much better position to recognize what is not working well, and then we can make a change when we see with this awareness. So we cannot see when we are, with one meeting to the other in the middle of all the mess in our routine. So we need to take this space and time. So what I learned is that there are four essential conditions that create this space for the shift to occur. Okay? Do you want me to share these conditions, the four conditions with you? Let me see. Are you with me? Yes, okay. So these four conditions that will help to create this space for you, the shift to occur. Okay. The number one is a change of environment. New environment breaks the autopilot, frees you from expectations, and gives you the outside perspective you need. So when we travel, we change environment. When we change environment, we break the routine. We break the routine and we are not in the same predictable day. So our mind, when we are in the same familiar routines, goes on autopilot because just to save, energy. So when we change environment, we break that autopilot and suddenly we have to pay attention because things are new. Our routines are new, people are new, spaces, places are new. Also, it frees us from people's expectations because nobody knows us there, right? So we are not the daughter of or the sister of or the director or neighbor. So we can be whoever we are. We can connect with our authentic self and be truly explore different parts of our personality that maybe we cannot explore at home because people expect us to look certain way or speak certain way or behave certain way. So this is totally freedom from expectations. And also it gives us this outside perspective that we need. It's not like looking our life from the outside, or like if we were in a maze or labyrinth, we cannot see so much, but when we are from the top, you have like a top views, you could see the perspective. So when we change environment, we are outside of the autopilot, outside of this routine, and we can see things much clearer, and only when we see that we can change it. Number two is exercising nature. So there is extensive research that confirms that combining physical movement with time in nature lowers the stress levels, improves mental clarity, and helps reset the nervous system. So maybe it happened to you that you are in your desk, in your computer, and you try to create something like maybe some creative work and ideas don't come to you, but then you go for a walk or you go to do exercise outside, you go to run, and then the ideas start flowing. Have you ever experienced that connection with nature and the movement, the physical movement of the body? So the mind is much free, and you are connected with the body and with nature. So this helps, okay? So this shift that you are looking for. The third one is simplicity. So when life becomes simple, we don't overcomplicate things. Mental clarity and the inner peace come back more naturally. So our mind is not overloaded with thoughts and decisions to make. We make things simple. And the last one is to incorporate meaningful rituals. When we want something to change, we won't like go through this new chapter, maybe close a chapter, open a new chapter, to have a before and after. Like when we talk about transformation, we talk about a before and after. So it's like a rite of passage. It needs to be like a symbolic transition with rituals that creates this psychological shift, if you want, that is needed to step into this next version. So these are the four components. So maybe you have already connected the dots that the Camino naturally integrates these four conditions in one simple daily rhythm, which is follow the yellow arrow. So for during this day that you are going to be on the Camino, the days you are going to be there, you just need to, the life is so simple. You wake up, you start walking, you eat, right? And is in a path that has lots of meaning and history. We said more than 1,000 years of history and meaning since the Middle Ages. Pilgrims every day, there is thousands of pilgrims going there, and they go and walk this path with these good intentions, with prayers, with hope, with love in their hearts. And this over time, imagine thousands of years, people walking there every day. This energy is there, is palpable in the environment, and it supports you and it guides you when you do that with intention. So, under the right conditions, clarity, healing, and transformation emerges naturally. So I'm going to share as well what people experience so you can have an idea of what kind of transformation or changes can happen when you give yourself these conditions like the ones that are happening on the Camino. Absolutely clarity about next steps, firm boundaries around other people's drama, and the courage to say yes to my own joy. Releasing a decade of unspoken forgiveness, close a chapter of my life and left behind the emotional weight I had been carrying for years. Stop defining myself by work, showing up with more vulnerability and kindness, and feel that it's okay not to know what comes next. Release negative self talk and self limiting beliefs. Discover who I am and how I'm meant to be in this new phase of my life. Prove to myself that I can do hard things, learn that I need far less than I thought. This is something that is, many people agree with that we sometimes pack lots of things and we don't use half of them. So you can live with much less than you thought. And actually, when they come back home, they start doing decluttering of things that they don't need. But anyway, this is important, so realize that you need very little things material and step into your third act or whatever chapter you are starting with more trust, that knowing that life always provides. So these are some examples, and maybe you're wondering how I end up leading trips to the Camino. As I mentioned, I'm originally from Spain. Always Camino has been like close to my heart. So when I started my journey as a travel coach and I wanted to do these travel experiences, I knew it had to be something special, something meaningful. And having conversation with pilgrims, with my background in psychology, I'm always interested in, learning about human behavior. So I was having these conversations about why you are walking the Camino and, what is your intention? What do you hope to get from this? So I discovered that many people were actually doing this experience and embarking in this pilgrimage with very meaningful intentions, but they were not preparing properly. So that's what I discovered, right? So there are three key mistakes that people make when walking the Camino. So if you are thinking about walking the Camino or you've been there, maybe you can recognize some of them. So I'm going to share what are these three mistakes and how you can avoid them. The first one is that most people only prepare physically and then show up for the trip. So this is something that is very, I think the physical part is what people are more worried about, or it's more relevant for them. So there is a physical challenge that we need to consider. So the physical preparation is, of course, important. But this is not the only thing that you can prepare or you should prepare if you actually want this experience to be meaningful and transformational and something, to improve in your life. There is a lot of preparation work that needs to happen before the trip. It's a holistic preparation, not only physical, but also mental, emotional, and spiritual. So this is what will guarantee that you make most of your journey. With the right preparation, you are not just cross your fingers and say, okay, I hope this works. So and this starts by setting intentions, but also learning about culture, the history, the symbolism of the Camino. Okay, so there is work to do ahead of the trip. The second is that people, when we are on the Camino, I see many people that their main focus is just to arrive. So they walk the Camino and they are concerned about, okay, what time is it now? How many kilometers or miles are left until my next stop? Or when is the next coffee stop? So, and again, not fault of their own, because this is something that we are trained to do in our lives. When we are in our lives, work, business, and daily responsibilities, we tend to be a lot in our heads and a lot about the future, what will happen next, and we are trained to do it this way. So thinking about the next meeting, the next appointment, and not being present. But the Camino is not about reaching the destination, it's about embodying the journey and allowing every day to unfold. So if we are walking the Camino and our mind is not present, we are thinking about what's next. Again, it's a lot of awareness because it's very automatic. It comes automatic to us. So slow down, and this also comes the preparation to slow down, to be present. Otherwise, you will miss the opportunities that happen. Sometimes serendipities, sometimes they come like, signs or coincidences. You will miss conversations with people that would make an impact to you that you will never know unless you have a conversation with this person, or you will notice the flower or the butterfly or listen to the river. These small things that will make the Camino worthwhile. Otherwise, we just be in your head thinking about arriving, and not enjoying the journey. And the last mistake, which I think is super important, is that many pilgrims just return home to go back to the old patterns and behaviors. So, again, environment is very powerful. So, if we are doing this Camino and we have this experience that is being profound and meaningful, but we go back home, people who's waiting for us at home, they don't necessarily been in this journey, so they don't experience this change. So it's very easy that we are drawn back, by people, places, routines, and responsibilities. So we go back home and we just go back immediately to work and answering emails and going to meetings. So sooner than later we will go back to where we were before. So the real change to me happens after the Camino. The real Camino starts when you go back home. So if you want the transformation to be lasting, you actually need to do this time after the Camino. Set time aside to do the reflection and the implementation of the actions, the things that you want to change. Because if nothing changes, nothing changes. If you are feeling this way, but then you go back home and you don't make any change, it's going to be difficult for these results that you achieve on the Camino to sustain over time. All right, so this experience from all the Caminos I've done, I know that experiences like the Camino are especially powerful and transformational for people who are at crossroads in their lives. Okay, so I've seen people that are navigating a major life transition, like it could be divorce, separation, death of a loved one, maybe approaching retirement, or just retired. Maybe empty nest, that the role as a mother or father is changing. But also significant birthdays, people turning 40, 50, 60, that there is a moment that they want to take this time to stop, to look at their life and see, okay, what I've done my life. Am I in the place I was expecting to be at this time? And if not, what I'm gonna do different in the future to ensure that like the future is not my past. So this is a perfect opportunity to dedicate this time for you and do this reflection about what's next as well. So people that are questioning their direction, their identity, maybe feeling disconnected from joy or purpose, like not feeling appreciation for, maybe they know rationally that they have a lot to be grateful, but they don't feel this gratitude inside. It's difficult. So this is also an opportunity for you to reconnect with these small things that we have in our life. Being at the age of an important decision. Again, clarity, knowing that something must change, but not knowing what the step is, right? The next step is. So ultimately, it's for people who will benefit from having more clarity about what's next, renewed trust in themselves, and feeling emotional lightness, reconnecting with joy and simplicity, and reconnecting with a deeper sense of purpose. Okay, so I'm gonna see if there is any question in the chat. Liz said, not feeling the joy in my current work anymore is part of why I'm currently in Sahara's course. Great. Okay, yes, happy you are here. All right, so if you feel identified with any of these and you would like to join us in our next year Camino de Santiago experience, I would like to introduce what we have prepared because we have considered all that I share with you in this experience. So as we mentioned earlier, this is a experience that we have designed in partnership with the TCN and Travel Awakens, and it's going to be our third cohort. So we had two cohorts already. This is going to be the third, but this year in 2027 is going to be special because 2027 is actually Jacobean Holy Year. What does it mean? Jacobean Holy Year means that only happens when the feast of St. James, which is the July 25th, falls on a Sunday. Okay, so next year is going to be the case, and the next one is not going to be until 2032. So what happens in a Jacobean Holy Year? So the Porta Santa, which is the door of forgiveness, is only open during those years. Okay, and this door leads pilgrims directly to the altar and the crypt of St. James the Greater. So it's one of the experiences, one of the unique experiences and more sacred experiences that the Camino offers in this year that is special that you nobody else in other years will experience. And also, pilgrims that arrive in a holy year receive plenary indulgence. Okay, so the absolution of all your sins. If you are interested in that, it's also an opportunity for you to have this. Whether you are religious or not, as I mentioned, this is a powerful, as a symbol, as a symbolic way of completion, release, and closure of a chapter. Okay, so now what route are we gonna walk? I mentioned there are several routes, all of them end in Santiago, but the one we chose is the French way. So the French way, we chose this way because it's well marked. It's not gonna be, an option that you get lost, or it's all very indicated. It's also well serviced. It's a path that has abundance of cafes and places to rest, and you are not gonna be worried about having to carry food or when to stop for toilet. So it's plenty of that. And also it's the perfect balance of challenge and beauty. And personally, I like it because the French way follows, if you like the stars, actually Compostela, Santiago de Compostela. Compostela means field of stars. And the French way follows an east-west orientation that aligns with the arc of the Milky Way in the way it's seen from Earth. In the past, actually, pilgrims were following the Milky Way, the stars, to arrive to Santiago de Compostela. So it has also this meaning in the French way. But as you can see, the French way is long. It starts in France, in Saint Jean Pied de Port. But to do the whole thing, it would be more than 1 month. So we are going to do the last leg from Sarria, which is around 100 kilometers, so 62 miles, 100 kilometers. All right, so how we arrive there, how we are going to arrive there, and we are going to go into detail with the preparation for those who would like to join us, but I'm going to give some clarity about the logistics here. The best way to arrive is to fly to Madrid. Okay, so if you wherever the airport you have nearby, wherever you live, I'm sure it's going to be an easy way to arrive to the capital of Spain, Madrid. So we fly there from your nearest airport, and then from Madrid there is high-speed train to Sarria. Okay, it's around 4 hours. And the return is going to be similar. So from Santiago, there is an airport that a small airport, you can do internal flight, Santiago Madrid. Otherwise, also there are trains, Santiago Madrid. And then in Madrid, you can take the return flight. So the easiest way is to book like a return flight to Madrid and then a train to Sarria and flight from Santiago to Madrid. Now, this is how to arrive. About the dates, we chose the dates as well. So next year it's going to be April 1926, okay? So we chose these dates because in the spring there are fewer pilgrims. In peak summer it can be, more people. And also the temperatures are milder. I have to say that in Galicia, in this part of Spain, in the northwest of Spain, it's not like hot like could be in other parts of Spain. So it's an oceanic weather that would be more similar to perhaps Ireland or Scotland. But you can have here in the picture in Fahrenheit on the top and Celsius in the bottom. In April, the temperature, the minimum in Fahrenheit is 43 and the max is 59. So you see it's a perfect ideal for walking. And then the trip duration this year, and this is something different that we're gonna do next year, listening from feedback from past cohorts, we are going to add another day. Okay, so instead of doing this leg in 5 stages, we are going to do it in 6 stages. We used to have a long day that was 29 kilometers or 18 miles. So we are going to split into two. So this means that this trip is going to be 8 days, 7 nights instead. And this includes the arrival day, 6 days walking, and the departure day. So the day we arrive, we have a welcome reception, we have this welcome dinner, and then the departure day is like the breakfast and farewell. Okay, so this will be the inclusion. Most participants, I have to say, they arrive before and they leave after because maybe they want to see a little bit of Madrid or the area of Santiago. They want to, maybe manage the jet lag if there is any. And then after, maybe they want to go to Finisterre or, see a little bit the area, especially if you come from far. This is also a good idea that I can give you ideas of what to do and what to, explore nearby. Now, how many kilometers or miles we are going to walk every day? Okay, so this is the breakdown of the stages. So the 6 stages, total distance is 114 kilometers or 70 miles. The average walking per day is 19 kilometers or nearly 12 miles. So you can see the longest one is the second, actually, in 15 miles. Um, I don't know if there is any question about the miles or the kilometers we will walk, but I would like to, before anyone is asking, to talk about the concern about will I be able to walk that many so many kilometers or so many miles? So instead of answering this question, I'm gonna let past participants to answer this question with this video, okay? And after I see we have here some participants live that I'm also going to ask them. But let's watch the video and see what they say about the physical challenge.
A lot of what I hear is that's a lot of walking, or I don't think I can do it. Yes, you can. You can. You're stronger than you think you are, and you can absolutely do it. I'm not a woman that works out a lot. 62 miles in a week was a little daunting. Hey, I'm here to say it's possible. By the end of the day, you're so tired and I would feel like, oh my God, everything hurts. I don't know how I'm gonna get up from bed tomorrow. And you get negative thoughts start to try to take over, but somehow next morning I woke up and I got out of bed like nothing, no scars or anything, and I was able to walk the Camino again. So it feels amazing, and again, my soul feels lighter after this trip. I was able to let go of something that I was holding on for 23 years. Don't worry about the miles. Don't worry about if you think you're gonna hurt. Be in the moment, enjoy the people, and all that other stuff that you're worried about will just go away.
I was very worried about the physical preparation, and I had been diagnosed last year with a autoimmune disease and was very sick, and I didn't know if I physically would be able to do this. And I came out here and it was amazing because I learned don't ever underestimate yourself because you're always tougher than you think. And I don't want to say the experience was easy because it's going to be different for everybody, but it was easier than I thought. If you get too much in your head about can I or can I not do this, you will give up before you even try.
There has to be a point where you step out of your comfort zone to be like, okay, I'm a little nervous, I'm a little scared, but I'm going to do it anyway. And then once you finish, okay, if I did this, I can do a longer trip, then I can do anything. And you never know, you could be an inspiration to somebody else who may be nervous and they see that you did it, and then it continues from there.
Okay. Do you need certain fitness level to participate? This leg of the French route, this last leg of the French route is actually accessible to people who are not experienced trekkers. That's why also we choose this leg. So I have to say that in the way we do these trips, these experiences, we let participants to walk at their own pace. Okay, so we are not gonna walk all together. We start together the day, but then I want everybody to listen to their own bodies. Oh, sorry, somebody who mute. Okay. So I want everyone to listen to their own bodies and follow their own pace. So I usually walk at the back. If anyone needs some assistance, they can stop, and I will be there. But you will have the instructions of where we stop for the hotels we go. So it's not you're not gonna get lost. You just follow the yellow arrow as I mentioned. And it's plenty of coffee stops and opportunities to rest. So listen to your own body. When you need to stop, stop. I'm going to talk a little bit more about how this is going to look like in reality. But if you can walk like at home for 10 kilometers or 6 miles, you should be well placed to walk the Camino. As I mentioned, I think an average was something like 15 or something like that. Of course, if you have any medical conditions or concerns, also consult your doctor or health practitioner before deciding to join. But many people who have never done anything like that, so people don't do this at home. They don't do this in average in their daily life. So I know it's a challenge and something new, but people who never done this, anything like that, they find it to be one of the most empowering experiences. They come back with so much confidence and they feel like if they did this, they can do everything, right? Because they surprise themselves that they were able to do it. Again, we are going to go through the packing list in the preparation, but just very briefly, I want to mention the things that you need. The most important things is comfortable, broken in walking shoes. You don't need like hiking boots or anything like that. So some people in summer, they do it with walking sandals, this leg of the Camino. So it's not something that you're going to climb or anything. It's just walking and layered clothing. So like a t-shirt and long layer for the morning that sometimes can be chilly. And then walking poles, I recommend. Many people, there are people who like, people who don't like. I recommend them for, especially for the knees, to soften the weight on the knees. But all the suitcase, you can decide to bring a suitcase or a backpack because it will be transferred. So we don't need to carry. We are not going to carry the big backpack. We have, people that will transfer it from one hotel to the other. So we only carry the daily small backpack with water or the daily snacks. Normal day, okay, in the Camino. Breakfast together in the morning, bags ready at reception so they can go to the next place. And we start walking around 8:30, okay? So it's not too early, not too late, 8:30. And then we start with a morning intention setting. And then everybody, I will give you the logistics, where we are going to stop, everything you need to know. And then everybody walks at their own pace. You stop when you need, you stop for lunch when you need. And then arriving by 6 p.m. is what I recommend. Some people by lunchtime, they are already there, okay? So in average, it could be like a 5 hours walk, and I give you like 8 hours walk so you can stop and take your time to, all the time you need. Dinner is usually 7:30, and then it's when we have, food, wine, and we share what happened, and we have these moments that we come back. So it's like open it to do the on your own, maybe meet people there, and then at the evening, you know that you have like a soft place to land. Okay, so the Compostela, yes, we all received the Compostela, which is kind of the certificate or diploma that confirms or certificates that you walk the Camino. So we will have access to that because the requirement is that we walk at least 100 kilometers or 62 miles, which we are going to do. Okay, so again, I'm going to explain in the preparation how this works. Kind of accommodations that we will have is a hotel. So each night we'll sleep in a different hotel. These are selected hotels on the route. It's not shared dormitories, no hostels, no bunk beds. You will have your private room, private bathroom, and you can choose if you want to share with a roommate or have the room for yourself. And if you have any diet requirement, if you are vegetarian or you have allergies or whatever, you can let me know in advance. So we will make sure we communicate this to the places where we are going to eat. So you will have no problem to do that. Let me see, I see some questions. I'm regularly told that this is a very solo trek. Is this experience guided in such a way that impacts that solo experience? Laura, good question. So that's one of the reasons why I decided not to walk as a group. Okay, so it's very personal and depends on the day as well. So you will wake up one day and say, oh, today I want to walk with, my buddy that I met, or today I want to walk solo. So we will wake up in the morning, we have the breakfast and the intention settings, and then it's up to you how you spend your day. You can walk solo, you can meet strangers, you can just go in silence, or you can walk with the whole group. Okay, so this is totally up to you. I see Luis here answered. Luis is one of the past participants of this Camino that we had earlier this year. We are going to hear from her in a moment. Eliana, will you share this deck? I will share the recording, so you will have access to the recording. Sarah, welcome. Yes, we want to hear from you soon. Okay, so now what's included in the trip? As I said, this is a 1 day extra that we used to do. Okay, so we will have 8 days, 7 nights hotel, half board, breakfast every day, dinner every day, the luggage transfer between stages, so we don't need to carry the luggage, travel insurance included, pilgrim credentials included. The TCN is giving merchandising with the t-shirts, hats, and things. And then there is this phone, emergency phone, 24 hours. It's going to be a small group experience. So it's also exclusive, and you will have a guide and a coach with you. It's going to be myself, so I'm going to be being there in the trip with you. And then we'll have virtually before 4 virtual preparation sessions that I will lead, and one virtual business coaching preparation that Sahara will lead before the trip. Okay, so you see that you are well supported ahead of the trip, and then we will have this 8-day trip, and then after 4 virtual post-trip incorporation sessions with me plus 2 virtual business coaching sessions with Sahara. Okay, so what's not included is flights, the transfers to the airport, and the lunches, because as I mentioned, everybody will be in a different moment on the trek. When it's lunchtime, some people want to sit down and have a proper lunch. Other people just grab a coffee and a snack and they keep going. So it's very different. So that's why we decided not to include the lunches. But as you can see, it's just the week Camino, but it's actually a 1 year experience, because we start with the coaching preparation well before. You will be supported, 6 months before, and then 6 months after, a whole year with this includes the preparation and the incorporation after the Camino. So what's the investment and the payment plan? Okay, so the investment for this trip is 2,497 euros. There is an early bird price available that if you are here today, you have access to the early bird. I will explain in a moment how it works, but this will be 2,197. These prices are for a shared room. If you are single room, there is also availability with 280 euros for the whole week. If you want to secure your spot, the only thing we require is 300 euros as a booking deposit, and then you confirm your spot. As I said, it's limited. We will not have more than 12 people for this trip. And then the remaining balance is going to be split into interest-free monthly installments. Okay, so it's about paying every month a little part until it's completed. Everything needs to be paid before February 2027, which is 2 months before the trip. I'm gonna go before I ask the live participants. I'm gonna give you more visibility or more ideas of what kind of outcomes or transformations a trip like that you can expect from it. So I'm gonna give you also this selection of videos of past participants.
Of what life's all about. You'd see something like a chicken or a cow, and it was like the most amazing thing ever. Like you see them all the time, but there you really paid attention, and you listened to the sound it made, and even walking in the rain, feeling the rain. You don't do that every day. I find myself now saying hello to the grocery clerk or smiling at somebody that opened the door. Things that before you were busy and you were in your own head and you didn't think about it, but now I notice everybody and I try to be kind to everyone, and it makes a difference. It feels better.
Each day went, I kept reminding myself I can do hard things, and I felt my strength growing emotionally and physically. Each day I felt emotionally and physically stronger. This is a gift that you really must give yourself.
So since I'm self-employed, I had been having a lot of challenges with the business. I really wasn't getting clarity and answers on a particular couple of things that I was having trouble with. It was leading me to not believe in myself and question the validity of the business, and was this my true path? Was it going to work? After the Camino, I got really clear on a couple of things. Number one was the business is going to work, and without a doubt, solidly, it's a yes. I banished my doubts and very clear on the path ahead. I'm very happy about it, and I'm embracing it. The second part was I noticed some people around me might have a little bit of drama in their life and be kind of courting me to come and be a part of that drama. And now I recognize it really quickly, and I just put a stop to it.
Right. So it was some forgiveness actually that I intended to extend for 10 years. And on the second day of the Camino, I just decided to start voice memoing what I wanted that letter to be. And did I break down? Absolutely. It just felt really good to get the words out of my head, off of my heart, and into my phone. So I'm not still done. I still have to go home and transpose it and write it and send it, which I will. And the interesting thing is, the name of that person that I'm writing the letter to has shown up at least once every single day somewhere on the Camino. And I keep saying, I'm doing it, I'm doing it, I'm not going to forget.
So I think you should come out a better person because you've challenged yourself. Perhaps you got answers to things. Lots of camaraderie. I met some really wonderful people who, we laughed, cried together, and we pushed ourselves. And we helped each other get through the challenges, whether it was like physical, or emotional and mental part of it. You can't really explain it unless you do it. But all I know is I wouldn't trade it for anything.
It definitely changed me. This is a trip of a lifetime. It provided me with exactly what I needed, which was clarity. Clarity in my personal life and clarity in my business life. And to me, it was so beneficial. And yes, you can do the Camino in 100 different ways and with 100 different companies. But how Sonia did everything and those coaching sessions before the trip to prepare you. I don't know how many, there might be companies out there, but I've never heard of that sort of preparation before the trip. So to me, that was very important to have that before the trip and then for after the trip.
Let's go because I would like to hear from the participants that we have here from earlier this year. So I see Luis here. Hi, Luis.
Hi,
Hello. How are you today?
I'm doing great. It's nice.
Good to see you. Good to see you, Luis. Would you like to share with the people here that maybe considering walking the Camino? Maybe we start why you decide to walk with us? Why you decide to join us?
Sure. Well, I was a little different in our cohort because I wasn't a travel coach. I came in from my own business, just kind of looking to see how I can use the Camino as a way to move my business into more of a travel kind of business. I'm a massage therapist, so I try to see how I can do massage along the Camino. And that was kind of my thought process getting into it. And it was actually one of the other ladies on our trip who is a client of mine who said, "Hey, you should do it." And I'm like, I'm busy, whatever. And I just kind of kept thinking about it and thinking about it. And every place I went, I found someone telling me about the Camino. And I had never heard of it before. And so I went to the bookstore, and the first page I opened was the Camino. The Way came out, so I watched The Way, and I had more clients tell me about the Camino. So it just kind of kept getting thrown into my world at a time where I was stressed, working a lot. We had I mean, it's just a dog, but our dog had passed away after, she was 17. So that was like our whole world. And she was handicapped for 3 years. So that took a lot of effort in my personal life. And I didn't realize how it was translating into my professional world. So that's kind of I needed to get out of the house. I needed to find a way to just be in my own space in my own head to get some clarity, just a change of scenery, really. And that's kind of how I got into the Camino.
Thank you, Luis. Yes.
Yeah.
Can you describe in your own words what happened during the Camino for you?
A lot of crying. Um, well, so the Camino for me, it became a little bit more of a physical challenge for me. Um, I just felt like I was being challenged and I needed that. Um, so it was like every day was different. The first day, so I don't know if you guys are aware, but there was a heat wave in Europe, and that happened the week we were there. So that was a challenge that I personally wasn't prepared for. We were like, oh, it's going to be a little rainy and little, 70s, and it was high 80s the whole way. Um, but we got through it and we all went through it. Um, and by the end of the day, we all sat down, had dinner together, and the next morning we were all ready to go. You didn't know how you were going to feel that next morning. And then next thing you know, you're like, oh, okay, I got some rest. I got some food. I'm okay. I can do this. You can keep going. So that was a little curveball. But again, you just go without any intention. And that's really, truly how I went in, is that I didn't know what to expect. And I really, I'm used to controlling my environment and I'm used to kind of wanting to know answers and stuff like that. And I truly went in just saying, you know what, I'm just going to walk. And I walked. And by day two, I think I just let out a lot of stuff I didn't know I had in me. And Sonia experienced that on the last day. And Sarah's here. I had a little stone for my dog, and there was a little stamp at the end. You get stamps along the way to show where you've been, and it was a picture of um two boot prints and two paw prints, and like I lost it. So, um, but it's funny when I came home. I haven't cried over my dog since. Like now I'm happy, I'm calmer, I'm more relaxed, I can put things into perspective. And I really think that time on the Camino really just made me, I just needed that time to grieve and to let go of whatever it was that was weighing me down. And um, even my clients have noticed a big change, which is huge because you don't realize how you are to other people all the time. And then when people are saying like, "Wow, you look different," or "You seem different," and I'm like, "Yeah, I feel different. I can't explain it, but I just feel better. I just feel more myself." So
I remember the moment and the
yeah.
breakthrough that happened. That was very profound.
Yeah.
Thanks, Liz. What would you say to people who are watching and are still considering, is for me, should I go, should I not go? What would be your advice?
I would say do it. I've talked to a lot of people, whether it's family, friends, or clients, and one thing people say is like, "Oh, I could never do that. That's hard," or "Oh, that's not me." I'm like, "No, you can do it. You just don't want to," or um, you don't know. You don't know what it's going to do for you, and I think we have to put ourselves out there and not be when you kind of surrender yourself and not worry about the what ifs and just say, wow, I'm going to do that and just let things happen. It's amazing what happens. Um, so if you're contemplating it, don't second guess it. Put your deposit down, get it in there, and then now you just move forward and you prepare and you won't regret it because it's different for everybody. Some people, maybe you just walk and it's just a nice walk. Other people, like I said, for myself, I crossed the street and I started crying. Like I can't even explain half the stuff that happened on the trip. But it was a powerful time for me. So I hope you do that for yourself and just realize take the time for yourself because it is important to do.
Thank you, Luis. I appreciate that you
Thanks.
took the time to be here and share your testimonial.
Thanks.
Before going to Sarah, I want to let Sahara to explain about the business coaching because I know she needs to go. So, Sahara, do you want to explain how the business coaching on your site is going to work?
Yeah, so I saw that someone was asking how could this impact someone's business as well. And so because the participants over the last two cohorts, everyone's at a different phase and stage of their business. Either it's the ideation stage, or you're established in something, or you're have a completely different business, like Louise, that has nothing to do with the travel industry. It really doesn't matter. This opportunity, just like it is an incredible experience for you personally, for personal growth, it also through intention can be a really great opportunity for business. And so what that looks like is we would work with you in the coaching sessions on exactly that. So it's going to look different for everyone, whether that you're coming from a content creation stage, whether you're coming from the clarity on what direction should I go in with my business, whether it's also you're putting yourself, if you believe in transformation and wellness and healing and this more intentional, purposeful side of travel, and you're trying to integrate that into your business in some way and helping your clients in some way. This is a really powerful way for you to get your own experience and to take note on what does that even mean. When I talk about transformation to my audience, what does that mean? How can I take my stories, my experiences, my examples, what I've lived and gone through, whether you document it during or you document it secretly, like to the side in a notebook or voice notes or physically as you go live, and then take that and turn that into these story ideas, the content, the messaging, the branding that you have. Again, it really depends on where you guys are, and so that's what I would do. So we get you guys get one coaching session with me from a business perspective before the trip, and then two after. Because again, it's not like you're going to go on this trip and you're like, oh, I know exactly what to do in my personal and in my business life. Like Sonia was saying, the post-trip integration, that it takes time, especially business. Business takes time. So we're going to be with you for the entirety of that whole year, Sonia and I, virtually, to help you through that process. And so that's what I would learn with you guys for your business journey. So we would set those intentions and be mindful of how do I want to go into this from a business lens, and or professional lens or whatever it might be. Like I will not be on El Camino with you guys. I haven't gone in person for many reasons, but Sonia's incredible, and everyone has such an amazing opportunity or experience with her. She is the pro. She is the person who came to me with all of this. I have been on El Camino though. When I was backpacking years back, I was in the portion that's in San Sebastian, and found myself walking along the trail and met other pilgrims and had conversations with them. And then I was in even further north and stayed in hostels with a lot of the pilgrims. So I got to hear their stories and why they were walking and what it was doing for them. So I'm very familiar with it. And I know just how incredible of an experience it is. So yeah, if you ever have questions about the business aspect, you can always connect with Sonia and she can reach out to me and put you in contact with me as well to see like what could this look like for you.
Thanks, Sahara. I don't know if anyone has any question for Sahara before she needs to jump out. So if you have anything, you can unmute yourself and ask. Otherwise, I will go to Sarah. We may run a little bit out of, after the time. Yeah? Everyone happy? Thank you so much, Sahara. Okay, Sarah, I want to hear from you now. Where are you?
Hi,
Hello.
Sonia.
All
Hi,
right.
everyone.
Sarah was also a participant earlier this year with Luis. So, Sarah, I would like to ask you the same questions. Why did you join in the first place?
Yes, so I remember I had recently actually just joined the TCN and was really just kind of starting that coming out of my actual formalized coaching program with IPAC. And sort of just starting out and I was like, oh, this seems like a good opportunity. It sounds fun. I was looking for a trip, something to do. And I was like, I'm just going to do it. And I will say for me, that reasoning really started to morph as we started to go through a lot of the preparation that Sonia will take you through, um, as you get ready for the journey. And then it really became a much more larger, profound experience around my business, around personal challenges. And like Louise on the trip, I did some crying too, right? But it was just really beneficial and it really morphed into a much larger piece of my life. And I had an amazing experience. So
Yes, okay. So, what was the experience for you? How you can explain for people who never been there, what was your experience?
yeah, I think it's hard to explain until you do it. So I would tell anyone who's sitting here contemplating even just the tiniest bit, do it because you can do it. And, my experience for me, it was really about, for me, connection. And like Louise said, we met some wonderful, amazing people along the way. But there were also those moments of solitude on the trail where there was plenty of time to like really deep reflect and go internally and sort of wrestle with a lot of things I'd been carrying around my entire life. I didn't really realize I had been, and being able to release those. At the time when I first went, I was a little unclear what I wanted to do with my business. And I remember one of the things Sonia taught us, and it's so true, is your journey doesn't stop when you hit Santiago and you're all done. I would tell you the real work really starts to begin after that. And that's when things started to really become clear for me once I got home, and had time to reflect on the experience. But I also had been going through some medical challenges. I was worried about the physical. I would tell anyone who's on here, don't underestimate yourself, because that for me, I remember going through our coaching before. I was like, oh, I don't know, can I do this? You can do it. It's amazing. Um, so that was kind of a little bit about my experience, but I will say it was probably one of the most profound and emotional experiences of my life, and it was so amazing that I once we left, I want to actually go back and do it again. So.
Amazing. Yeah. Yeah, we could just go and go with that. But can you maybe tell us what changed for you after? What are the biggest things that you taken back from your life, from the Camino to your life?
Yeah, business wise, like I kind of touched on, it gave me a lot more clarity and direction for my messaging and where I'm going and what I want to do. I was able to finally figure out my offers, so I have a good direction to move forward. Personally, it really taught me that there's times where, in life you dig deep, and to not underestimate yourself. I have had health challenges. I've had some new ones now. Um, but I don't ever give up, and I show up for myself. And I think before I went, I didn't always do that. I didn't always make myself a priority. And now I've learned, one of the lessons I got while I was out there was like, you have to make yourself a priority, right? To be able to give to others, whether that's to your family or your pets or even just to yourself. So, I think there's a lot of lessons you learn along the way. And I will say the Camino gives you what you need, whether it's what you want or not.
100%. And it's amazing how when you experience the Camino, it's kind of a miniature of your whole life. So it helps you to give,
Yeah,
clarity about what's going on in your life in that
yeah,
small amount of time.
yeah.
Is there anything, Seb? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say the one other thing I would want to add is to what it's given me. I went and I was excited to just meet new people. And from the experience that we had in our cohort, I can tell you we all get together and we talk many times we have since, and even with our post sessions with Sonia, but outside of that. And I have met some amazing women that are truly lifelong friends, for support personally or for your business. So I would say you can really create some great friendships out of it. That's what it gave me as well.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Sarah, for taking the time to be here today with us.
Yes.
All right. If you have any questions for Sarah or Luis, put it in the chat, okay? I'm gonna just finish to explain you what would be the next step if you are interested. So what we are gonna do now is that instead of asking you to put the book in deposit, I would like to have a conversation with you first. So I will invite you to have a conversation before having any decision, because it's important to understand whether this experience is the right fit for you or whether you are at the right stage to get the most of it. Okay, so I've opened spots on my calendar over the next few weeks for those who are interested. Booking the conversation doesn't commit you to join the trip. You just maybe have some questions. You want to talk things through and express just your interest, but we will talk about that. If you book the call, the conversation, you have access to the early bird price guaranteed. Okay. So this is the link, okay? So you can, I can maybe put it in the chat as well, but this is open for you to schedule a call, and the calendar will be open for 1 week. So Friday next week, I close. So if you are interested to book a call, You can book a call for between now and the end of August. So the dates are there until the end of August to have the chat. But the calendar, the opportunity to book the call is only for 1 week. Okay. So I will also take some questions. If anyone have any questions, I've seen people have put some questions in the chat that I'm not sure if everybody have replied. Sarah, yes, Sarah Crossman.
Hi. For the single occupancy, is that the extra cost, is that each night or is that for the entirety of the?
The entire week.
Okay, cool. Okay, thank you.
Yes, welcome. What other questions we didn't answer that you have, or to me or to Luis and Sarah that were there earlier this year in May? There is no wrong or bad question. Another one, Sarah. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I have another one. Sorry. With the early bird pricing, can you please remind me when that stops being
Yes.
available?
Yes. So the booking deposit is 300 euros now, in the moment of this month. And then the rest, the remaining amount, is monthly installments with no interest between September and February. So everything needs to be paid by February, which is 2 months before the trip in April.
So the early bird pricing goes all the way through February?
No, the early bird pricing will finish the 14th of August. So the early bird
okay.
pricing finishes next week. So you have 1 week to
Okay.
book the call. You don't need to pay the deposit yet. So 1 week to book the call to confirm or to lock the early bird price. So if you're
Okay.
just a little bit interested, book the call. And even if we meet like the 20th of August, you are going to still have the early bird price because you secured the call. And then we have the chat. And if it's not for you, it's okay. But if it's for you, you go ahead with the early bird price.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for explaining that again.
You're welcome. Thanks for asking. Sometimes we have questions and we don't ask because we think, oh, maybe nobody else, but I'm sure many other people here were wondering the same. So if you are unclear about something, ask it now. Anyone else? Any other question? I don't see any hand or any. I want to leave you. Okay, I want to leave you with a video that I created for the experience in 2026, and we will finish here. Okay, so in meantime, I will read the chat if there is any other question. But I hope you enjoy the video. Thank you so much. Look forward to speaking with you and we keep in touch. Thank you for being here. Have a good day.
Bye.